Hello friends, I'm THRALL, I'm the Commando Coach, and I'm going to have a guess here. If you've clicked on this video, it's because possibly there's something in your life you want to change. Is that right? Well, the first thing there is to say that is a massive positive, and I'm going to explain why. So bear with me. Now, for any changes we want to instigate in life, we go through something called the cycle of change. This is a table that was worked out by a couple of social scientists, Prochaska and Di Clemente. They sound a bit like they could be Santa's reindeers or something, right? But I'm guessing they were kind of practice sociologists or psychologists. Anyway, this is to say there's no change in life that anybody goes through without going through these stages. If you can understand these, my friends, you have the ability to change everything, particularly those habits or those traits which, you're starting to realize are possibly a bit unhelpful. So should we take an example? And this can apply to everything. Let's just say Maureen is drinking wine at night, okay? She's drinking her 2 glasses of wine. Some days it's like 4 glasses. Other days she'll like do the whole bottle. And initially, Maureen was in the pre-contemplative phase of change, right? What I mean by that is when you start off these habits, which become bad habits, you don't know that they're bad. Initially, they give you a buzz, like you take drugs for the first time. Wow, like I'm high, I'm finding myself. It's great. Like there's nothing wrong with this, or you're smoking weed, or you're like Maureen, you're having the occasional drink, or maybe it's food. Big problem with overeating at the moment, right? So when it's no problem to you, we call this the pre-contemplative phase of change. But what happens is that day comes around where you start to contemplate, actually, this might be costing me something. It might be that like friends have started to go on at you. Maureen, are you still on that wine? Maureen, we're just, we're going out for a family walk. Do you really need to get us in the pub as soon as possible? And, so Maureen can have a glass of wine, right? And you see the signs in your ill health. You wake up in the morning, Maureen's got a hangover, right? She's like, oh God, I just feel absolutely rubbish again. I've got a whole day of work ahead of me. I've got to struggle through it. And of course, what's Maureen going to do when she gets home? She's going to have a glass of wine, right? So the whole cycle repeats itself. Now, you can apply this to chocolate, to food, to sex, to gambling, whatever it is that you've come here now because you think, maybe I can make a change. Just apply this cycle of change to your situation. And don't worry, this is not doom and gloom. This is all positive. The fact you're here now is amazing because many people will go their whole lives and they won't even think about making any change. And as some of you know, I've watched like my best friend die of alcohol poisoning. I've actually watched a lot of people go to their demise because they always stayed in this state here, the pre-contemplative, where they didn't like really consider it as a problem. So we've moved on to the contemplative, right? That is where you start to realize, I might have an issue here. I might have a problem. Well, it's all good, folks. It's all good. Please believe me, I've been around this circle, more times than you really need to know. But what happens is you get to the preparation stage here. This is where you think, you know, I'm going to take action on this problem. Whether it's the drinking, eating, gambling, whatever it may be, drugs obviously is a big one, right? It might be that you're not exercising. You got a gym membership, you're paid up, you're just not going there. Or you're not going out for your, twice weekly jog. Or you're not even getting out of the house and going for a walk, right? It could be any of these things. Remember, this is not necessarily about addiction. It's not necessarily about vices. This is about making change that will ultimately benefit you, your children, your family, and everybody around you, okay? So the preparation is where you go, do you know what? In Maureen's case, I need to bloody kick this drinking habit, right? It's not doing me any favors, drinking every night of the week. I'm getting sick, I'm getting depressed, I'm getting tired. So I got to do something about it. So what is Maureen going to think in her head? Well, first of all, she's going to think, I need to some way stop buying the wine in the evening, right? I maybe need to stop spending my time with people that just drink wine. Remember, you've got to apply this to all situations which require change, okay? So she's going to stop going past the off license on her way home. She's going to she's going to drive a different route. She's not going to, when she's in Tesco's or Morrison's, whatever supermarket, she's not going to walk down the drink aisle because it's a trigger, right? She's just going to go, bottle of wine, right? All these things are preparation, and you can frame these for whatever it is you've come here for today. You frame this in your own way, right? So she's done all this positivity. It's maybe spending time with friends that don't drink, whatever, right? But above all, I guess the number one is Maureen doesn't want to drink every night. Then the cycle of change comes around to action. This is where she's got to put her money where her mouth is, right? And it's great because, do you remember, she could have been up here. She could have been in the pre-contemplative phase of change where she didn't even realize she had a problem, but she's not. She's here. She's actually taken action. It's a stage. Whenever you look at, I don't want to use stereotype or cliche. I don't want to badmouth people. But when you get a long-term person who's obviously got alcohol issues, and they start to say, oh, well, I haven't got a problem, I just like a drink. And it's like, really? Like your family's really upset with you, your life's falling around, maybe you've lost your job, or you're just unhappy, or you're depressed, or whatever. What that means is that person, they're still in the pre-contemplative phase. They haven't actually got to understand themselves or what it is they need to do. But Maureen, she's all the way around here taking action. And because you are watching this now, you are at this stage, you're taking action. You may have even begun the next stage, right? Or you've been around the circle before. I know I certainly have, right? And that is a good thing. So when you take action, you put your plan together, you're like, right, I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to go past the off license. I'm going to fulfill my life with other more well-meaning occupations. So I'm going to have hobbies. I'm going to spend time with family. I'm going to do spiritualism to remind myself that we're all children of the universe. You know, we don't need to bloody drink. We don't need to gamble all our money. They are temporary, short-term gains. And what they do, they give you a little quick high to satisfy your ego, your base human desires. Remember, base human desires are from the waist down. These are the things, if we want to be happy, we got to get rid of them. We got to live in our upper selves. Upper selves is love, understanding, respect, staying clear of all that shit like alcohol, pornography, or at least let's just say this graphic, violent pornography that's invaded our culture, right? Staying away from hatred, hating people and attacking people over social media. That is all lower self stuff, right? The gluttony, the stuffing yourself with food, that's all lower self. We want to be in higher self. We want to be in a simple alkaline diet, you know, mainly vegetable based. Stay away from the alcohol. Yeah, you can have a drink at celebration. That's fine, right? You know, stay away from the gambling. Stay away from the judging people. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I kind of digress. But the thing is, you've taken action. You're doing this good thing. You've put that in place, which you recognize you need to do to maintain the change. Now, here's what happens, and it's normal. You have first maintenance. Okay, this is the period we talked about where you keep it going. It's all good. You know, you're quite excited because you've actually not drunk wine for like 2 weeks now. And that's the first time in 3 years or something. Whatever the situation may be, right? But then you get to this point. It's called relapse or just a simple lapse. What is the difference? Well, a lapse is where you have let's just call it a hiccup, where you go out for a night, you think, do you know what? You're gonna have a glass of wine, maybe a cigarette, whatever it is you're trying not to do. And folks, please understand, this is not only absolutely fine, but it's a very important part of the cycle of change. And I'll explain why. Relapse, on the other hand, is where you go completely back into the cycle and you end up here, where you're not even thinking about changing your behavior. You've gone back to all your old habits. So Maureen, she's there, she's buying her wine from Tesco. She's not thinking about making the change. She's getting merry every night. She's telling herself, blah, 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 this is just me. This is fine, whatever. Anyway, that is a relapse, okay? Not a problem. Can I tell you why? Because the circle only goes one way. That way. Okay? It only goes that way. You can't go backwards, folks. And I'm going to list some examples of why you can't go backwards. So just remember, relapses and lapses, that is part of the process. When you get these groups like AA and NA and they're telling you that, like, oh my God, you relapse, you failed, you're a failure, you've got to, you know, change your life and come back to us, come back to the... No, that is wrong. You should be allowed to relapse and lapse, okay? You need to learn by it. It's just a learning experience. So, I hope you can see me okay. Now, if I were to ask you, list some things that your addiction is costing you, that your habits are costing you. Whatever it is that you're watching this video now, what's it costing? And let's take Maureen. She's going to say something like this. So cost. She's going to say, Chris, it's costing me my mental health. It's costing me my mood in the morning. You know, I'm just depressed because I'm always drinking and I'm in this cycle of just feeling like cack all the time, right? Chris, it's costing me my energy. I should be spending time with my children, my husband. We should be planning for the future, but I'm always preoccupied with bloody drinking. And then it's making me a bit like depressed. And then I'm recovering and I've always got this hangover, you know? So it's preoccupying me. Okay, excuse my spelling. That is not the issue here, right? So what about Maureen, what about long term? What's this going to cost you long term? We're talking short term. What about your whole life? What are you going to lose by continuing this behavior? Well, Maureen's going to say holidays, right? She's going to lose family holidays that don't get planned, they get overlooked because you just want to drink. She's going to lose maybe promotion at work. Promotion at work because she's not on the ball. She's going to lose learning. Remember, folks, we have a big brain for a reason. It's because we have the ability to soak up loads of knowledge to make our lives better. But if you're just sozzling every night and you're asleep on the couch by 9:30 because you're drunk or you're tipsy or whatever, and you're just watching, you know, opiate for the masses, as Karl Marx would say, on television. You know, you're just watching your soap operas, your Strictly Celebrities, Go to the Toilet on Ice, or whatever nonsense is on the TV these days, right? You're going to lose learning. You're going to lose your ability to develop and go forward. You're going to lose a lot more. You're going to lose your health, right, Maureen? I mean, I hate to be the one to tell you this, Maureen, but you are going to die younger because of your habit, because of your alcohol intake. It's a fact, okay? Health. It's a big one, right? And I tell you why, because alcohol, and when I'm just focusing on this now, alcohol is readily available, it's socially acceptable, you can buy it on every street corner, and it's bloody celebrated in the Western world. Have bad news, have a drink. Have good news, have a drink. Feel in the middle, have a drink, right? And what that ultimately is going to do is it's going to cost you years off your life. It's going to cost you your relationships with your young person, your children, your husband, whatever it might be, right? So these are all the costs. Now, maybe I turn around this way. Let's look at the benefits of The benefits of change. So this is what it's costing you, okay? Here, if I was a substance misuse specialist working in a clinic, which I have done, I'm going to say, where would you like your life to be? What are you looking forward to? What would you consider is a success? And you're going to say something like, come on, Maureen, give us your ideas. Happiness. Clear head. Get lost depression. You know what that means, right? What about good relationships with our loved ones? What about like a holiday with a family, you know? Maybe you're spending all your money on drugs. Maybe you're in that horrible, shitty cycle where it's all about feeding your addiction, right? So holiday doesn't have to be anything, you know, we're not talking like 10 weeks in Barbados. What about taking your family just for a weekend break? Or for, you know, a week in a caravan in Cornwall? It's going to cost you like 300 quid, you know? All those things that when we need to make change, it's clamping down on us, right? So holiday, happiness, education, it's the same one here as the learning, right? You know, when I was in my drinking phases, like I wouldn't read books because I was pissed every time I went to bed, and books were like, ah. And yet you can get so much from reading, right? You can get so much from learning from other people's stories. You can enrich yourself. You can enrich your prospects. You can empower your family to know not just some of the basics in life, but some of the really important things that help people who are like me, who seek enlightenment, to just be so happy every day, right? So you'd like these things. Maybe it's promotion at work. Maybe it's to be happy in the workplace, to go into work, not have the banging head, not think, oh God. Maybe it's to do that job, but realize actually this is temporary. I'm going on to something else. I'm setting my goals here, you know. I'm going on to something else, but I need to get my head in order. I need to get my shop in order. I need to take part in this job because it's a means to an end, and I'm going to be setting my goals and being happy after it, right? Maureen, you ain't going to do that with your banging head every morning. You're going to be miserable, right? I just put future. What about better health? Just again, taking alcohol as an example. You cannot be happy habitually drinking. You just cannot. I know you might think it plasters over the cracks. It's a loosener when you finish work. It's like, I work hard all day. I'm allowed a couple of whiskeys, or I'm allowed a half a bottle of wine. Yeah, of course. It's a free country, right? You can do whatever you want to do. That's a given. But what I can tell you, because I've been there, is if you want to live in the highly enlightened state, where you don't need the gambling, the drinking, the eating, because that slows you down, right? What happens is if you follow this pattern of drinking, you never get up into that state, that extreme happiness that some of us manage to be in. You stay in the lower part of yourself. You stay slightly hungover every morning, slightly miserable, a slightly bad attitude towards the world, right? a slightly like, why is this happening to me? Or this is my situation, you know, I'm hard done by. And you're blocking yourself from that spiritual enlightenment, right? So future is a big one. Health, it's gonna, you know, your habits will cost you. Whatever they are, whatever reason you're watching me now, it's gonna cost you in the long run. It's gonna add you stress, which is cortisol. It's gonna make you eat rubbish food, because when we're feeling a bit we just go and do the microwave meal thing, right? It's gonna mean that you follow a pathway through life that's just sort of going down. And when you go down, you don't learn about things like diet, alkalinity in your body, right? Which is going to stop you getting cancer. It's going to stop your loved ones getting cancer. So there's massive, massive reasons to change. Now, just going to go through those: happiness, clear head, screw depression, relationships, holiday, education, promotion, future health. We could list loads more, right? Oh, forgot a big one. Excuse my squiggles. Money, isn't it? Money. This stuff, your habits cost you money. And they cost you so much more compared to someone that just doesn't do them. Literally, you stop drinking, or you stop that smoking, certainly the gambling, even just by doing that, you are saving enough for an all expenses paid trip to where, you know, Gran Canaria, or wherever it is, whatever your passion is. You know, you're spending thousands on this stuff, right? So, do you want to know the good thing? Thank you for you know, sticking with us this long. Here's the good thing, right? You're not in the contemplative stage because you're watching me now. You're not in the contemplative stage. Well, you might be, but you've obviously been preparing. And just by watching me now, by taking part in this, by wanting a better future for yourself, you're taking action. And whether you maintain this action or not, don't worry, folks, because relapse or lapse, it's a part of the education experience. Why? Because when you lapse or you relapse, where can you go? Well, which way does the circle go? It only goes one way. Look, it only goes that way. You can't go backwards. Feel good about this, you know, congratulate yourself. You can't go backwards. If you lapse or relapse, what happens? You stay here. And then you finally go back to contemplating again. This part. And then you think, hang on. I said I didn't want this stuff anymore in my life. I wanted this stuff, the good stuff. And so what happens is you go back to preparing, you go back to taking action, and then you maintain it. And just from a personal perspective, friends, is you might lapse many times. You probably should do. Okay, it's just normal. We need to relearn. We need to reprogram our psychology, which has taught us the quick fix, right? We need to reprogram it. It's not going to happen like that. This is why New Year's resolutions are a joke, all right? They're a joke. You're never going to break the habit of a lifetime by going, yeah, I'll just do that for Christmas, you know, I'll do that for New Year. It's not going to happen. Everybody go through this cycle. And just remember, once you are here, if you're watching me now, maybe let's do some time scale on this. You know, maybe you're here. Even by watching me now, you've moved over here, right? Your life has moved just by taking an interest in yourself, okay? Next time, you're going to be over here. You might relapse a few times. Who cares? because you're going this way. Remember, you can't go back. You cannot go back. And finally, when you reach that glorious point in life where, okay, we all still have problems, we still have challenges, we even have the occasional lapse or maybe even relapse, right? But we know that our life centers here. And so we will always get to this stage where we contemplate, prepare, and take action. Please like and subscribe to the channel. This thing just doesn't work if you don't do that, right? Congratulate yourselves on being here. If you've got any question, put them in the comments and I will endeavour to answer them. And congratulations, friends, on changing your life.